All right, we're ready to go.
Thank you for starting with that before we recorded. All right, I'm going to go ahead and count you in. You're going to hear me till 3. The 2, 1 will be silent. Before we start, though, do you see that test in the chat that I sent?
Yes, I got it.
Okay, excellent. All right, that's where I'll be giving you your countdown for the close of the show. So here we go. Enjoy yourselves, everybody. In 5, 4, 3.
Hello, everyone. I am Carliss Chatman, and I'm your host of Getting Common. In my day job, I'm an associate professor at Washington and Lee's Law School. Today's episode is very special to me as a native Houstonian and as a Beyonce fan because I have 2 of my favorite Houstonians, Courtney St, Julian and Brendon Bailey, and we are about to discuss a topic we all hold dear, Beyonce. I'll start by having them introduce themselves. First, Courtney.
Hello, my name is Courtney St. Julian, and as Carliss said, I am a native Houstonian. I went to North Shore High School, which for those of you who don't know, is a Texas high school football dynasty. After high school, I went to LSU, another football dynasty. I went to Vanderbilt for law school, but while I was at Vanderbilt, I decided to visit for a year at the University of Texas, and that is where I first met Carliss. And so we've been friends for, that long. I won't say exactly how long. In my day job, I am the chief hearing officer for Harris County, which is basically a magistrate. But nighttime, I freelance as a Beyonce impersonator.
All right, now Brendon.
In my day job, I am a construction project manager and a civil engineer by education and training. I also like to think of myself as an unpaid music critic and a culture critic. So it'd be wild for me to not be up on my Beyonce. I'm not quite a native Houstonian. I'm actually from Jamaica, but I got to Houston as quick as I could at the tender age of 6 months. I actually met Carliss and Courtney through Facebook. I think there was a group where we were allowed to kind of just be ratchet and talk about all things pop culture. And we discovered that we were both, longtime Houstonians with like a couple hundred mutual friends. And it's like, why aren't we already friends? And so that was probably almost a decade ago. And so yeah, it's been 10 years of Houston, Black excellence, and Beyonce.
Yes. I would say coming at 6 months makes you native. I'm like, whatever, he's native.
Sure,
right?
sure. I'm so H.
We'll claim you, right? We'll forget about those.
Hey, I claim Houston probably a little bit more than I do Jamaica too. So.
Well, and I think we all claim Beyonce more than is natural. Sure. So my first question to kick off our discussion, and either of you can answer first. When did you become a Beyonce fan? And I will give some clarity to this question. As native Houstonians, we've been hearing Beyonce a very long time, longer than y'all have, right? Like Beyonce's around our age. We heard Destiny's Child. We heard the stuff before Destiny's Child. And I don't necessarily think everyone was a fan all the way back then. So since everyone wasn't a fan all the way back then, tell me when you first became a Beyonce fan.
I'll let Courtney go first.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give some background, of course. I pledged Alpha Kappa Alpha in 1998. And I shouldn't be giving my age like that. And so for our probate show, our sort of coming out song was No, 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 No. And we had this little, at the beginning of the routine, we would do like the no, 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 like the Miss Delta sign. And then we would do like the no, 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 no for like the Zeta sign. And then yes, 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 yes for the AKA sign. And so I remember when we were rehearsing that song, I was sort of like the soloist in that song. And my Dean of Pledges was like, she kind of looks like she's moving like the lead singer in that group. And at that time, nobody even knew Beyonce's name in 1988. It was just like, that was Destiny's Child, And so I remember them being a little rough around the edges. Like it was good music, a little silly, a little superficial. But What I saw in Beyonce was just this incredible work ethic, right? Like I saw that she was not happy just being like the local superstar. You know, she really started honing her craft, honing her image. And by the time she dropped Crazy in Love, I was a diehard, solid Beyonce fan.
All right. How about you, Brendon? When did you first join the Hive?
So I will also give a little bit of background. So I actually became aware of Beyonce with the first single, the No 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 remix from their Destiny's Child album. And I remember thinking at the time, oh, they're not, they're not superstars, but they're super polished. They're really attractive. They almost kind of remind me of a young En Vogue, and maybe there's something a little bit different about them. So I, would love to kind of see where they'd be in a couple of years. I kind of cooled off on Beyonce during the Survivor era because I just kind of thought all that was a little extra, a little messy, that kind of thing. But then when I heard she was going solo, I was like, okay, let me see if she's going to be one of these people who thinks, okay, I'm the lead singer now, I'll just do the same thing and be a successful solo artist, like a Diana Ross, maybe even like a Michael Jackson. And when she came out with Crazy in Love, I was like, oh, she's been working on her craft. She's been working on her vocals. She's been working on her dancing. This Crazy in Love video is easily as good as anything that I've seen from, people who are really good at music videos. And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to call myself a full-on member of the Hive just yet, but let's kind of pay attention. I would say I probably joined the Hive for real when she put out Self-Titled in 2013, the surprise album. I was like, she's on a whole nother level. I want more of it, and I don't care who knows.
It's interesting. So I was not in Texas when No 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 came out. I was in North Carolina. So it was like, the Beyonce stuff and the Destiny's Child stuff was popping back then. I would definitely say, like, we did not, identify it as Beyonce and Destiny's Child at first. It kind of was after, after the folks left. The Survivor era, I agree, Brendon, super messy.
Yeah.
Like extra messy. Like the songs were just shady.
Yeah.
And some of those songs with Michelle, bless her heart. Bless it. Like really. But for me, I think I became a Beyonce fan the first time I saw her in concert. And I can't remember which concert it was, but it's the one when Robin Thicke opened. And
Okay.
And I was like watching it in a suite, and I was like, whoa, like just the 360 of Beyonce for me, where it's like I can tell when like people who hate Beyonce have never been to a concert in person.
Right.
Like you cannot outwork Beyonce. It's on a, it's kind of how I feel about Madonna. Like I'm not the biggest Madonna fan, but I won't fault the fact that like she is a 360 artist who does the most, or a Cher or a Diana Ross, like those people where it's like, I don't have to download a single one of your songs, but I'm not going to deny your talent because you put in work.
Yeah.
And like going to a Beyonce concert, work, like just next level work. And, now I can only watch it in a suite because I can't be in Gen Pop. I need to be around, I got to be around like-minded people. I got to be like with people I trust. I can't really be feeling other people's reactions. I can't have people who aren't going to like it. It's like, no, I got to pick my people and be in a suite to watch Beyonce now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hashtag sweet life.
Yes. Suites only. I mean, how many suites have we been to? Like 3?
3, at least
Something
3.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. We only watch Beyonce in suites, and I will go to Houston because I like the Houston special performance.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I hope we should not be saying this publicly though, because now people are going to try to get in the suites, and I need y'all to not try. Like, it's kind of like moving to Houston. We need you not to move to Houston, and we need you not to get to our suites.
Right. Well, may the odds be ever in their favor.
Right. Because we have the hookups on how we get our suites, and I'm not going to say
exactly.
That. So, before we get into all the positives, I would like to discuss the haters. And, I have a theory. I don't know that my theory should be shared publicly about why I think people hate Beyonce. But I would love to hear the two of you answer the question, why do you think Beyonce has so many haters? And I feel like these haters are different. Like, I think the haters are as prolific as the hive. Like it's almost like they make it their job to hate Beyonce.
Yep.
And what is the source of this, do y'all think?
Well, I think there's several, but for me, I remember several years ago, someone had created this website. It was sort of a blog, and it was called Beyonce-itis. And basically, the theme of the blog was basically every current catchy pop singer was catching Beyonce-itis and was dying from it. And you kind of never heard, because they fell off once Beyonce got on the scene, and they kind of fell off. So I think a lot of people hate Beyonce because she makes their other favorite artists look inadequate, basically. Like, you don't hear from Ashanti because there's Beyonce.
Right.
You don't really hear much from, oh, what's that girl? I can't, Carrie Hilson, because there's Beyonce, you know? And I think a lot of people are like, but I liked Carrie Hilson and I liked Ashanti. That's fine and dandy, but they just can't exist in this world because Beyonce is just kind of like the sun blocking out the stars. Like, there's stars back there, right? But you can't see them because Beyonce is the sun in this solar system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Those are facts. Like, Beyonce has some bops. Not Beyonce, Ashanti. Ashanti has some bops.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but it's kind of like, that might be a nice little, burger slider, but we're about to actually get, lobster, caviar, Petrosian beluga, not the stuff that you can get off of Amazon. We're about to have like the real deal with a Beyonce release. I think there might be a couple other things that kind of factor into Beyonce hate. I think Beyonce kind of became a bit of a villain during the Survivor era, because here she is. There's the Destiny's Child drama. These two of the members kind of find out suddenly that they're no longer in the group, and they find out in kind of the shadiest way ever. That literally the video comes out of their hit single, and there's two other women in their place than them, or at least that's the way the story went. And so, to those of us who aren't on the inside and kind of know the deal, that's classic villain behavior. As to maybe another reason why I think Beyonce gets a lot of hate, I think more so than maybe any other female artist who's achieved, worldwide fame besides maybe a Madonna, Beyonce talks her shit and she stands in it. There's kind of an expectation, I think, for women, particularly Black women, to, we can acknowledge your greatness, but there's a polished way to, kind of, accept your flowers, if you will. And kind of right around the time self-titled, probably before self-titled, when she put out Bow Down, I've Been On, she was done being nice about how good she is and how your fave really could never. And I think from that point, and kind of tying into what Courtney just said, it's like, you've got your fave, and then Beyonce shows up and nobody's thinking about or looking at your fave anymore. And some people really kind of internalize that. And I think that's why the Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter draws a lot of hate.
Not all the names.
I mean, hey, lot of imitators. We got to make sure we're talking about the right one.
Now, I'd love to hear y'all's opinion on this. I feel like everyday lay people behave as if Beyonce is attacking them personally when she says "bow down, bitches," and I don't understand. Like, I do not understand why they think Beyonce is talking to, like, Beyonce doesn't know you.
Sure. But
these are the same people who thought the vaccine had a microchip that was going to, record it. You're not important enough for the government to care. Trust me.
Well, insecurity is loud, and insecurity always thinks that, everyone is thinking about them or referring to them. And, I think, I don't know, there's something about, excellence, I think, and it's not even just Beyonce. I'm sure you guys, have experienced this in your careers, and, other people who have. There's just something about excellence that really, I think, triggers a lot of people. And rather than, kind of sitting with that and figuring out where that comes from, it's just easier to, lead with "I hate Beyonce" as if that's a personality trait. So
Not a personality trait.
I mean, it's a LinkedIn skill for some of these people.
Yeah. They have to lead with, like you said, they have to lead with, it's almost like they want to be loud about their hate for Beyonce.
Yeah.
If you see a post, like scroll by on your feed where it's like, Beyonce releases new music, there will be 10,000 people who have to say, I hate Beyonce, I hate Beyonce.
Right.
And it's like, but why would you expend the energy? If you
Yeah.
hate her, why wouldn't
Sure.
you scroll past? It's like it's the Dallas Cowboys, New England Patriots syndrome. It's like, this person is so excellent that all I can do is hate that they're excellent. I don't want to be their fan because they're so excellent. So I'm just going to instead, hate from outside the club.
Yeah.
Like Taylor Swift gets on my nerves, I mute her.
Right, exactly.
No shade. I could not tell you a single Taylor Swift song. No disrespect to her. Some of these other pop girlies that I don't listen to, I know like a song. I could tell you, oh, Katy Perry sings "Roar." Ariana Grande sings this song. I don't know anything about Taylor Swift. I've just never had an interest. But you won't find me on Taylor Swift posts commenting about her or saying that I dislike her or I hate her. I'm just unfamiliar and don't really have the desire to go learn more. There's nothing about her that says, oh, well, let me see what she's about or what, how she's progressed over the years. I just don't engage if there's no interest. I don't know why other people can't do the same with Beyonce, but
yeah, I mean, they will download the entire album, listen to it, and have critiques like a music critic for something they hate. And I'm like, that's weird.
Are you getting paid for this? Because if you're not getting paid for this, I don't understand.
Yeah, it's strange. Like her haters, I like your comments about Black women as well. Like, I think some of it is the way that everyone feels compelled to police Black women and their bodies and their spiritual everything, right?
Sure.
Like we are on public display all the time and everybody has an opinion about everything that we do in life. And we just have to block that out. So I think that's a big part of it. Like people think Beyonce is supposed to care because all Black women are supposed to care about people's opinions.
Sure.
But for some reason people level it up on her. And it is the strangest thing. It is just strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I pray for them.
You're doing better than me.
I just like do something else with your time. Like I don't have time to hate someone on that level. Just don't listen.
Sure.
Move on with your life.
Yeah, go ahead, Courtney. Sorry,
I was going to say they for some reason feel as though she has to humble herself to them, and that's what kind of blows my mind because I'm just like, she's clearly like you said earlier, like there's Cher, there's Madonna. I don't like Madonna. I don't really like Taylor Swift's music either. But I recognize that they are a talent. They're a force in the music industry,
right.
But I don't hear people calling for them to be humble or to express their excellence in certain ways. It's
right.
only Beyonce that people feel like they have to regulate, how she performs and how she expresses herself. I saw a guy write a whole think piece on, I don't see why Beyonce has to cuss so much.
Yeah.
Well, because she can.
Yeah. Yeah. I think another thing I also think about too, when it comes to Beyonce is, kind of like where I was, kind of between like the Survivor era and then when she kind of went solo, where it was just kind of like, okay, I'm a little cool on her, but especially in these past couple of years, Beyonce has gone to places that other artists, Black or white, haven't gone to. And I would kind of think, well, what other artist dedicates an entire Coachella performance concept to HBCU marching bands? Like, don't get me wrong, I love the greats. I love Michael. I love Whitney. I love Janet. I love Aretha. I love all of them. But this is the first time someone's gone there. And you would think that you'd probably hear more of, okay, maybe Beyonce is not my cup of tea, but I got to give her props. She's clearly very hardworking. She clearly thinks, or at least has grand ideas for the way that she wants to execute. And there's not really anybody else out here that's doing it like her. So at least I can give a begrudging respect. No, it's still just outright hatred. And I'm just kind of like, I think that's the kind of excellence that just gets under people's skin and they don't really know how to deal with it.
I would like to go back to that HBCU shout out moment. I think, not enough credit is given to the fact, like she does the Disney thing, Black is King. She does like Lion King stuff. It is rare for a Black artist to be unapologetically Black in a way that elevates all aspects of Black culture.
Yeah.
Wearing all yellow, like the Orishas, and like you just have to know that she is Oshun in that video. Like like she is sending messages to people.
Sure.
People like the HBCU moment, the way I had to tell some white people that's what that was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like she doesn't bother to explain. She's like,
No.
I'm gonna do some stuff that is explicitly Black culture that only the girls are gonna understand. Just like on the latest album, she's doing some stuff that is exclusively ballroom culture.
Sure.
That took my gay friends to explain to me what it was that was happening. She did not care that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
She doesn't care if you are white and you don't understand what was happening at Coachella.
Right.
She doesn't care. She's going to be unapologetically Black in a way that I don't think we've ever seen an artist of her level be.
I can't think of one. And I think what's also incredible about, you mentioned Renaissance and even Black is King and Coachella or Beachella as it should be called. Beyonce is not a alumna of HBCU or someone who was in a marching band at an HBCU or even a high school inspired by HBCUs. She's not a gay woman as far as we know. And so she has a way of really kind of uplifting aspects of Black culture that she herself may not be a part of, but she does it in a way where it doesn't feel like she's appropriating or trying something on for the sake of popularity or, hey, this is really trendy right now, so let me do this or let me, adopt this as a visual style. It really feels more like a tribute and honor, at least to me, than it does, hey, the gays are really popular right now. Pose is popping. Ballroom culture is a thing. Everybody's, checking for Legendary. Let me do an album that's, that features ballroom elements. It really feels, like a celebration of those. And I think what probably one of the things we'll look back on her career is that, she's really exposed a lot of not just her fan base, but just people in general to, aspects of culture that they may not have been aware of. She kind of gives you something to go dig into, something to go do your homework on if you're so inclined. And, I'm loath to kind of talk about pop music from hey, is this intelligent pop music or not? But I really think good music, kind of like any really good media, whether it's a really good movie or a really good book, or a TV show, it kind of exposes you to something that you're not familiar with, and you'll kind of go read up on it, kind of like, oh well, who is this being referenced, or what sample is that from, or what's kind of the background behind that. And when I see people do that, I see these are people who are serious about their work. They do their research. They go to the source. They don't pick up trends from people who are also pretenders and try to do something like, she took it back to, original creators and really kind of elevated them in a way that I think is really remarkable.
Yeah. So, if you're a Beyonce hater, just block her and let us live over here.
I mean, tell it to the deity that you pray to. I mean, maybe they can do something about it. We certainly can't. And we're not interested in doing it.
No minds are being changed.
No.
No minds are being changed. All right. So let's discuss why Beyonce is so special to those of us from Houston. So I've alluded to the fact that like she drops things in her albums that like you just don't understand unless you know.
Yeah.
She and Solange, especially, like Solange's entire last album is like references to Houston that I've had to explain to people.
Oh yeah.
So I would love for each of you, like, shout out a few things that Beyonce has done in her music that is special to those of us in Houston, like just some Houston unique things that are out there.
Oh, one of my favorite moments was, I think the video is for Beauty Hurts, and she's wearing the Miss Third Ward sash.
Oh yeah.
I think that if you're not from Houston, I think no one knows what that meant at all.
Yeah.
And that was one of my, in fact, when we went to the On the Run concert, I basically wore a recreation of that costume with the Miss Third Ward sash.
Yeah.
I'm never going to miss an opportunity to wear a Miss Third Ward sash.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for those who aren't from Houston, our neighborhoods used to all be wards. And they used to be separate governing districts, you know, and some were Black, some were white. I believe some were Jewish, right? Like first ward was Hispanic, fifth ward was Black, third was like Jewish and Black people. And now only a few of them maintain the name. Like even though the districts exist, they only a few. And so third ward and fifth ward are two Black neighborhoods that maintain like the ward moniker.
Yeah.
And so that's what that is about for those who aren't familiar. I happen to think the third ward is the best ward, but I am biased.
Well, I think Beyonce would agree with you about third ward being that ward. I think one of my favorite Houston references from Beyonce's body of work would have to be the Blow video. When I first saw the video, I was like, wait a minute, that's Funplex. And Funplex is an entertainment center that's on the west side of town. It used to be Fame City when we were growing up, and they've got the big skating rink. And you know, I know that she also went to, I think, Elsick High School for a little bit, which is on the west side of town in A-Leaf. And so for those of us who aren't from Houston proper, I'm actually from the Missouri City area, Southwest Houston. I claim the west side of Houston. And so seeing that Funplex reference was a real treat for me as a longtime Houstonian and a Beyonce fan.
You know,
she's always sneaking little subtle references to Houston. I mean, even Ivy Park, most people don't know what that's referring to, but if you're from Houston, you get it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what I love about Beyonce is that she's always giving a nod to H-Town in almost everything she does. And when you're a Houstonian, you hear it and you're like, that's right, that's right. And I love that she's kept her Houston roots and she's maintained that, even though now she's an international superstar and the whole world claims her.
Yeah.
You know, she's born and bred H-Town.
Right.
I just love Beyonce before the vocal coaching and like speech lessons.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was good in country. You were never going to confuse her with someone from the East Coast or someone from the West Coast. She was country. And I think those of us who are from Houston, you probably been in situations where you're around people from other parts of the world and they swear they can hear a twang in your voice and you're like, no, this is just my regular voice. So kind of piggybacking on the discussion, I as a fan of most things Houston, I just think it's incredible that, you know, here you have a young woman who probably has very typical, you know, beginnings as far as, you know, Black women from Houston go. And now she's, you know, she's a megastar. And Houston's not a place that's known for turning out a lot of people who are big in the entertainment industry. It's not like, you know, being from New York or Atlanta or Detroit or, you know, some of these other places that have deep musical legacies. And I just think it's amazing what Beyonce and Solange, because, you know, Solange is that girl too. You know, certainly those of us who are from Houston know about, you know, Houston rap, Houston hip hop. But I think, you know, it's not common to see that on the music side. And, you know, for someone like Beyonce to kind of go as far as she's gone, considering that when she first came out, you know, we didn't know if Destiny's Child was going to be, you know, a group that people cared about in a couple of years, or like so many other, you know, one-hit wonders that came out in the 90s. You know, they made a couple of songs that you might hear on Magic 102 or 97.9 The Box, but then you don't think about them until, you know, maybe something shows up in, something that's specifically about Houston. And you're like, oh yeah, remember then? Like she's completely, gone above and beyond that. And I as a Houstonian, I think that's really cool.
I love the way she puts like Houston beats and Houston trends on.
Yeah.
Like so many people, like the I've Been On segment of
Oh yeah.
Shella, or H Down Coming Down, which we've been saying for like, we won't say how long we've been saying it because it would tell people how old we are. But just certain things that she does, like even just slowing things down, and people are like, why is that song slow? And I'm like, it doesn't sound slow to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm from Houston, and that sounds normal to me. Little things that she does, that she weaves throughout.
Yeah.
Where people think Beyonce is the first one to do something. I'm like, she's actually paying an homage to, DJ Screw or Slim Thug or somebody else that like is not in people's forefront. She also pays people.
Sure.
Yes.
Which I think is an important thing to say. Like,
can we talk about that?
We can.
Because this actually kind of goes back to we were talking about why are there so many haters, and there are so many people who are like, oh, Beyonce is not original, she's just copying everyone else and she's just stealing other people's works. And first of all, I want to say, if you bought the actual CD like I did for Renaissance and you look through these liner notes and you see just how much attribution she gives for every single song, it's like, no, if Beyonce is inspired by, borrowing, using, interpolating, she is going to give the credit where the credit is due.
Yeah.
And I think there's an important distinction to be made between stealing and paying an homage and being inspired by. And so many people are like, she's just copying. And it's like, yeah, maybe she was inspired by this artist or this song, but she's taking it and giving it its own Beyonce feel, own Beyonce look. So it's not stealing. She does not steal anything from anybody. Trust me, she doesn't have to.
And when she does it, she puts them in the liner notes and sends them a check. I wish Beyonce would quote me. Beyonce, please quote me.
Carliss.
Okay. Yeah.
Who?
Well, and I think the thing that's always so funny to me about the Beyonce is copying or Beyonce is stealing or taking credit. Look, nothing exists in a vacuum. You can nearly pull up any artist that you want to, bring up, and you can find someone that they were influenced by, someone that they were inspired by. I think of people like Michael Jackson, Madonna. I mean, Madonna is the queen of, let me take something here and like repurpose it and introduce it in a different context. And I would even be one of those people who has criticized maybe the way that she does it and the way that she takes things that are maybe from other cultures and puts them in context and don't really give credit to where she got that from. That's not really something that Beyonce does. And again, I would say, nothing exists in a vacuum. If you're any type of creative person, there's going to be someone who works in your medium that inspired you to do something, maybe got you into doing something in the beginning, and you kind of create your own thing, based off of that. I mean, whether you're talking about jazz music or classical music or works of media like film and TV, like nothing exists in a vacuum. And so some people really kind of act like Beyonce is this only person who's finding inspiration in different things and kind of repurposing. And considering how hip hop is built upon sampling and taking things that were originally one thing and really repackaging it and making it something different for an entire different body of listeners, that's been going on since the beginning. And if there's one thing that Black people understand, is we understand about taking things that were forced onto us through various types of through things like slavery and colonization, and putting our own spin on it and turning it into something that's completely different from what was before. I think in that vein, Beyonce is very much walking in her Blackness and creativity when she does things like that.
All good art is about cultural melding, right?
Yeah.
And I just got back from Cuba, and the musical expert, and I had never heard this before, I had never even noticed it. He was playing for us how the Muslim call to prayer and that like melody is present in like, and in part because of slavery, right? Because
Sure.
they took slaves from Muslim countries as well. How
Right.
you that in gospel. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like no clue. Like I just
Yeah.
had never, and he kind of extrapolated the sounds and layered them over each other, and even showed a video of people in Cuba who practice Santeria, doing what people in gospel church do when they catch the spirit, like having the beats and all that. And it was like, but you can hear this Muslim melody over people who are singing a gospel song while practicing Santeria involving African religions and catching the spirit. And catching the spirit comes from the African. I was like, oh my God, mind blown.
Yeah.
It's the way that all these cultures have melded together. So the idea that we're like, oh my God, Beyonce is stealing, when it's like all of our music is borrowing and stealing from other cultures that we can't even identify anymore because we think it's just ours.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so favorite Beyonce song of all time, not just an album, of all time.
Well, that's interesting you said of all time, because I think my favorite Beyonce song is End of Time. Because first of all, I kind of like the songs that aren't necessarily the most popular. They don't get the most radio play. I'm a B-side kind of fan. And for me, that song, like, it plays to my, if I could live my life all over again, I would want to be an astrophysicist. I know this is gonna get way out in left field. But in that song, she talks about there's nothing between us but space and time. And it's kind of like true love could, cover any span of the universe. And so when I hear that song, even though she may have written it in a romantic vein, it makes me think of like my family members that aren't here. And it truly makes me think that true love is eternal and it spans all space and time. And so that's one of the reasons why I love that song. Plus the beginning, it has this weird little noise, this boom, 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 boom. And I tell myself that that's how stars talk to each other. That's what it would sound like if stars could talk to each other. And that's how you send your love across the universe. So that's my favorite Beyonce song of all time, just because it appeals to this like quirky nature in my brain. But obviously, I love all the bangers. I love every single song on Lemonade. I can listen to Lemonade on repeat any night of the week because it appeals to my petty Scorpio side. But I mean, really honestly, when it comes to Beyonce, there's not a song that I think I dislike. There probably are some, but I'm gonna go with End of Time as my all-time favorite.
All right, Brendon, favorite?
So I had to think long and hard about this, and I was just like, there's so many songs that I listen to all the time and I love, and so I kind of like tried to go to Spotify and look and see which Beyonce song like comes up often in like these are the songs that you've played most in the past year type thing. And I'm actually proud to claim this song. I really love Countdown from the 4 album. And it wasn't a song that I originally started liking, but it's kind of one of those songs that to me just kind of embodies how Beyonce is. She's boisterous. She can be kind of soft and sensual, and I just feel like that song gives you it's got the big horns, it's got the beats, it's got these all these crazy background vocal harmonies. When you take into account the video is super extra in that way that I love Beyonce. When she's being extra, she does extra better than I think pretty much anybody else. And it's just, I mean, that song, that's another song that has like a Houston reference. At one point she talks about London speeded up Houston Rocket, which is also kind of like a double play on the Houston Rockets, the basketball team. And it's also kind of one of the songs that really kind of emphasizes that Beyonce is really somebody who I think loves being a wife to Jay-Z. And whatever you might think about Jay-Z as a person who was unfaithful, even in Renaissance you can find that she really loves being his wife. She loves singing songs that are about her and their family together. And Countdown is literally just even from that actual countdown, it's just kind of like a, hey, here's our love as a couple, and I'm trying to turn this into a family, because I think that song technically came out while she was pregnant with Blue. While she was pregnant with Blue, her first child. And so I don't know, Countdown is just probably my favorite Beyonce song. And I say that as someone who can't get enough of Renaissance. So
I would say for the album, in my opinion, is when Beyonce was trying to let us know that she can actually sing. I think that's the whole purpose of that album. I was saying Beyonce's a pop star.
Sure.
Beyonce is this, like the vocals on 4 and like the runs and the range is like our preview of Renaissance. Because she does some things vocally on Renaissance that are just, you know, out of this world. But 4 is the first time she does it. And she's really trying to let the haters know I'm Beyonce and I can sing.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's like, I am Beyonce, I can sing. I know y'all thought I was just out here hitting a 1-2 in the dancing.
Yeah.
Actually a singer. So I asked y'all this question, and I don't know that I actually have a favorite Beyonce song, which is horrible, but but I'm the host, so I can do what I want to do. But if I had to narrow it down, the reason I said 4, as I was thinking about the questions I was asking y'all, I think 1+1 might be my favorite Beyonce song.
Okay.
Because she stunts on hoes so much. Like, yes, it's a very romantic song, right? It is a beautiful song. But I mean, Brendon, you're the musician. Like, what is she doing on 1+1? Like,
I mean, so kind of to your point, and I'll say this because I think this is probably one of the things that makes Beyonce special. So when I think of like all the artists, all the pop artists, all the Black artists that have come and gone, I think of somebody like Whitney Houston being the singer's singer. Like, say what you will about her songs, you can't deny that Whitney Houston sings and sings down, and is kind of a once in a lifetime talent when it comes to singing. On the opposite end of the spectrum, you've got someone like Janet Jackson, who is not really known for her vocals, but she's known for being a great performer, an amazing dancer, you know, comes out with these high concept albums, talks about things in her works that you're not going to find from your average R&B and pop artist, because love songs kind of rules the day. And I feel like Beyonce sits equidistant from those two. She's not, I wouldn't say that she sings like Whitney at all. I wouldn't say that she performs or that she dances like Janet, but I feel like she kind of brings the best of those artists in a single package, and has kind of gotten to a point. It's interesting that you mentioned the 4 album. I think that's the album where she not only starts to sing, but she's kind of like, I don't really care about trends. I don't really care about what's happening in pop music. This is the type of music I want to sing. These are songs that show off my vocals. I remember when I first heard Love on Top, I was like, oh, this is a song where she's not only singing, but if you're someone who loves like the 80s R&B, this is not contemporary in the sense of, oh, you put that out and that's going to automatically be a number 1 because that's the type of music that's really popular right now. It's like, this is someone who loves music. This is someone who loves to sing. This is someone who grew up on 80s R&B and 70s R&B, and you're going to get a lot of that on 4. And so, you know, again, I don't want to talk about intelligent pop music versus unintelligent pop music, but I kind of feel like, you know, 4 is kind of where she said, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing, and I don't give a fuck who likes it. And I think you hear a lot of that in the music from that album. And as much as we love, you know, Renaissance and Lemonade and even Self-Titled, I don't think you get to either of those places without her saying, hey, I don't give a fuck what everybody else is doing. And I think you see that most in 4.
Absolutely.
I love that you mentioned Love on Top, because to me, that's the song when you said, Carliss, where she's like, I'm gonna let you know that I can sing, because we were all singing along to that song. And that key change made a fool out of all of us. Every time that key changes, and you're thinking, how is Beyonce doing this? Like, you cannot even keep up with the way she changes that key. And it's so deceptive, because the song sounds, and I'm not the musician, Brendon can break it down better than me, clearly, but the song is so deceptively simple. Like, you're just singing along, bopping along. You're like, wait a minute, I'm wrong. Wait, how is she doing that? How is she reaching that note? Each time she does that little run, it's incredible. That's when I was like, yeah, Beyonce did not come to play. She came to play.
So many people embarrass themselves in karaoke trying to sing Love on Top.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, retire that, y'all. Don't even put that in the karaoke book. It is so embarrassing for people. It is a hot, actually, I would say most of the songs on 4, people embarrass themselves trying to do it in karaoke. Like, it's not giving what you think it's giving.
Right.
It just isn't. Like, I would never even try. I barely sing karaoke. I'm not a good singer, but I would not, I wouldn't, if I see a song in 4, I'm like, let me not. There's not enough alcohol in the world. Try to sing Love on Top in public.
Yeah.
Like, don't do it. So I'm gonna skip around in order and just get into Renaissance so that we don't run out of time, because we have to talk about Renaissance.
Absolutely.
So my first question for y'all, have you stopped listening to the album every day yet, or does it still have you in a trance?
Chokehold. I'm firmly in its grip. And I don't know what it is, but she's put crack in that album, and I cannot get enough.
Are you listening every day still, Courtney?
Oh, of course. Absolutely. In fact, I've got a road trip coming up next month, and I just want to sit and just like have my headphones and just be immersed in it. Yeah. Because I find myself, like, when I'm listening to it now, I'm too distracted. Like, I'm listening to it at work, I'm listening in the car. Like, I want to be able to just sit and just marinate in the music, because it's catchy enough that I want to listen to it every day. But now I'm to the point where, with like all good Beyonce songs, like, I'm ready to dissect it. I'm ready to dive into those lyrics, find the hidden meanings, find all the Houston references, because there's this album, I have to say, is just so layered. I mean, I love the way most of the songs start off one way, they morph into something else. It's almost like she gave us 2 albums in one, because so many of the songs do something completely different. Mm-hmm. And I want to find if there's a different message when the music is changing, like when those songs are morphing into something else. Is the theme of the song also changing with it? Like, I'm ready to just kind of sit and be one of those people that writes a think piece about Beyonce.
I feel the urge often to write a think piece about Beyonce, but I don't want to be one of those scholars who writes think pieces about Beyonce. It's more like because I don't like the people who write think pieces about Beyonce, I don't want to be one of those people, but I always have the urge. It's a real conflict in my spirit, but I feel like eventually I might write a whole book about Beyonce. That could happen. So when I could not listen in Cuba because I forgot to download it. Yeah. So that broke me from my Renaissance streak. I probably listened every single day up until I left the country. However, what I did start doing about 2 or 3 weeks in, are y'all still listening in order?
Yes and no. If I'm listening to it through like a streaming service like my Spotify or something, yes. But I've also gotten into like watching like the lyrics videos on YouTube, and then also some people have started putting out versions of the songs where like the lead vocals are isolated or removed, so you can actually hear what's going on in the background. Or there's even a couple videos where it's like not like the lead vocals are taken out, but like the subtle background vocals that you almost have to have like an ear to hear it in its like original form. And it's like, and it's isolated, and it's really kind of sending me, because I'm somebody who really likes to break down, songs like that. I like, why are the background vocals like this? Why did they, decide to do this? I think it would be a dream for just me to sit down to Beyonce and say, hey, B, why did you do it this way? Because every second on that album feels fully intentional. Nothing feels like, oh, we did this just to do this. Like, there's a reason why I've ordered the song this way, or why I switched up the lyrics slightly between singing the chorus the first time and the second time. And there's just all these little discoveries with Renaissance that I'm kind of getting into now that I'm no longer listening in order.
Yeah. I will say that, are y'all there?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I will say, once I stopped listening in order, and kind of to Courtney's point about hearing the different layers, I stopped listening in order and I started kind of just picking songs. Mm-hmm. Totally different album if you don't listen in order. Completely different out. Like, it's amazing how if you put it on shuffle or if you pick this song, or like sometimes I will start at what's the Grace Jones song?
Move.
I will start at Move instead of the first track and
Yeah.
go ordered that way. Totally different album, right? Or
Yeah.
if you start at Cozy and go in order.
Yeah.
Like totally different album. I advocate for starting out of order because it changed my opinion on some songs even to like not hear them in the same rotation. But I will say this about Renaissance, because I did it for like a month. Renaissance is the perfect get dressed for the day album because you can wake up to the first track. You can set the first track as your alarm.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be in the shower by the second track. And then you need to be like out of the shower by the fourth track. And then you need to be like doing your makeup. Like, trust me.
Yeah.
Set your alarm to the first track of Renaissance.
Okay.
And do your morning routine and see what happens.
We stand a planning queen, so sure.
I will tell you this too, though, that the risk is what you will say to people when you do that.
Oh, well, yeah.
Because you might tell someone you're unique. You might tell someone you're number one and you're the only one. That might happen if that's how you start your day for like a week.
Sure. I know I might have told someone, no, the booty won't do what it's gonna do. So yeah.
Now I quote Renaissance a surprising amount. And I'm like, where did that come from? And I'm like, oh my God, I just quoted Renaissance.
There are a lot of good quotables on that album. Like just, oh my goodness, that's a bar. Or hey, sometimes you, like you said, you're in life and somebody says something, you're like, oh, the perfect response would be a line from Renaissance. It's really kind of interesting and creepy at the same time.
All right. Can you pick a favorite Renaissance song?
Ooh.
For me, my favorite Renaissance song right now, I'm sure it'll change next month, is Cozy. I love Cozy because I've always liked this notion of being comfortable in my skin because I'm very rarely comfortable in my skin. And so, as we get older, we're still pushing ourselves to get out of our comfort zones, to still grow, to still expand. And what I take from that song is Beyonce is like, oh, I can do all that. I can still grow. I can still expand. I can get out of my comfort zone because I'm cozy in my skin. And that's where you want to be comfortable. As long as you are cozy in your skin, you can still grow and expand and get out of your comfort zone. Yeah. And I also love that she calls herself neon beige. That I'm gonna call my daughter that from now because she's neon beige.
She is neon beige.
So my favorite song changes, but if I'm going to think about the song that I consistently kind of go and listen to and really kind of just, really kind of listen to like what the leads are doing and what the backgrounds are doing, it's got to be Virgo's Groove. That beat is probably it's super infectious. I love that the song is kind of a metaphor for sex. It's like kind of like what Courtney referenced. It's two songs in one. The first part is Baby Come Over. And the second part of the song is You're the Love of My Life. And it's like the Baby Come Over is kind of like the foreplay and maybe the more physical aspects, I think, of sex. Whereas You're the Love of My Life, I think, is kind of like the romance, kind of the, hey, we're not just connected because we're in coitus. It's like you're the love of my life. And whether that's the orgasms, whether that's the moans, whether that's her shrieking so loud that she curses the stars, I think Virgo's Groove kind of tells a story. And it's not just the lyrics, it's in the background vocals, it's in the music. And that's the kind of sophisticated pop that I'm just really loving that's kind of where Beyonce is as an artist, as a singer, as a songwriter, as someone who, plans what kind of concept she's going to do. And, she keeps leveling up. And I think Virgo's Groove is kind of emblematic of that.
But I'll say Alien Superstar was my favorite forever.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this song is about me. I'm an alien superstar for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But then Heated has grown on me because Beyonce is talking her shit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who pissed her off, but I know I don't want to be on Beyonce's bad side.
Like she is reading for filth in that song. And I feel like she's reading in a way that only Southern women read. And that's why I like it. Like I felt like my grandmother was cursing me out when I listened to Heated.
Yeah. And I think she's talking to her critics and the Beehive, especially the ones that want to try to come for her sideways. She's like, look, I can be just as petty as you. You know, I haven't put out any visuals. You still might not get any visuals. And guess what? You're just gonna deal with it.
Right.
Yeah, Heated is a good one. And then that coda where she's like actually reading, you know, ballroom style. I say flip flopping ass bitch like at least a couple times each day. Cause it's such a bar. Like you guys talk all this shit. Monday I'm overrated and Tuesday you're on my dick. I mean, it's next level.
And I just love how she's like, what does she say? Dimples on my ass, stretch marks on my tits. Like, yes, I'm old and I'm getting fat.
Right.
Sure.
And I'm still better than you. Like,
and you're still jocking. Yeah.
She's still the ultimate sex symbol with 3 kids.
Yeah.
I'm also like, where? Like, I feel like I tweeted that one day, like, bitch, where? Like,
Yeah.
where are your stretch marks, Beyonce? Show me. Because I don't believe you. But I appreciate you shouting out those of us in our 40s who are like, you know, like, no, like Heated is definitely I can't stop listening to it. Like anytime I'm feeling down, I'm like, let me listen to Heated so I can talk shit like Beyonce.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of being in your 40s, if she does go on tour, I'm going to need a full knee replacement before the tour starts. Because I want to drop it like a thotty. I want to drop it like a thotty at the concert.
Well, and I also need to get my fan choreography together because I've got to have a big fan when she does Heated. You know, if you listen to the isolated, like one of those videos where they take out the lead vocals, you can hear the fans clicking in that last, and I need to get all that together. So yeah, we've got a year. Apparently she's touring next summer, so we've got some time to get it together, but so I got to be in the building.
We've actually only got 1 minute to close, and I love that y'all talked about the predictions about what's next, but I will close with, do y'all think we are ever getting visuals, or are we just going to have to wait for the show?
I don't know at this point. As someone who's always tried to kind of eschew what other people are doing in popular music, I could literally see her saying, "Hey, all y'all are getting are the lyric videos." So
I feel like she could do like a Christmas drop. Like, it's Christmas Eve. Here's the video.
She could.
Because that's how Beyonce rolls. Or it could be like December 26th. Like, I was at the crib with the kids, and here's some music for you. Like,
you know where you were when that digital dropped.
Right. You know where you were when the digital dropped. Yes.
Such a cultural reset.
So I would like to thank y'all for joining me on the show as 2 of my good friends and fans of Beyonce who are actually very professional and serious in their real lives. It is good to get to have a little kiki and really like we are on the internet in public for a little while. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone for tuning in to Get in Common. If you ever miss an episode, you can catch the rebroadcast anywhere that podcasts are streamed. You can also watch the video. You can catch our visuals on the YouTube channel, which is Get in Common on YouTube. Thank you everyone for listening. And if you ever need to reach out to me, I am at Carliss C on all platforms.
All right, we are clear.